Rabbi Sai, I want to discuss something interesting. Last week, we learned there is ribis, interest, min hatoyre, ribis. Then there's what we call ribis midrabanan. There are various forms of ribis that Chazal answered. One of the forms of ribis drabanan is what's called ribis mukdemes and ribis mu'cheres. And ribis mukdemes meant that you want to have get a loan from someone, a halva. So you send them a gift in order to find favor in his eyes. Then you'll ask him for a loan. He'll give you a loan. That's called mukdemet. It's before. That's aser midrabanan. It's not actual ribis. It didn't actually affect. It's not actually that you're giving interest for the loan. It's a gift prior. Then there's something called ribit mu'cheret. I borrowed $1,000. I paid the $1,000 back, but I'm very appreciative of what the person did. So I send them a gift afterwards. I send him a gift thanking him for the loan. So that's called the ribis mu'cheres. Also aser min ha'torah, midrabanan. I'm sorry. And the halacha is that l'chatchila you're not allowed to give such ribis. You're not allowed to give these gifts or anything, whatever you're giving to him. And the malva, the lender, is not allowed to take it. But if he took it, he didn't realize he took it, he can keep it because it's only a ribis. It just looks like a ribis. It's not actually ribis. It just seems like a ribis. Goya, we're talking about Yid. Only between two Yidim. Now, some say, we learned also, some say, Yesh Matirim, they say that ribit, these cases are like a ribis mu'cheres, there is a certain heter in certain situations. If you send them a small gift, and you don't specify it's for the loan, there is an opinion that says that's okay. Even though you have in mind, you're sending him the gift for the loan, to thank him, be appreciative of the loan, or to elicit him to give you the loan prior. If it's a small gift and you don't specify clearly, I'm doing this because of the loan you gave me, this Shita holds its mutter. Why? Shita says that the whole thing of ribit mugdamet, ribit mucharet is marat ayin. If it's a small gift and you don't say clearly, it's not Marasayan. People send to the gift. People give a bottle of wine. People give chocolate.
Anybody see?
Yeah, it's not the good. You give a large item, a matana maruba, a large item, or even a small item, but you say clearly, this is for the loan. That's already seems like a ribis. So therefore, this shita holds. Now the other shita says no. Even in that case, Chazal forbade it, even a small gift. We brought the Alter Rebbe continued on and said that everyone agrees this whole situation that a small gift, if you don't say clearly, is mutter, according to certain opinions, is only when you give it later, after you pay back the loan. But if while you pay back the loan, you gave back your $1,000, with it you give another $25, or with it you give a gift. All opinions would say that that's a problem. Not midah haTorah, because it wasn't made up prior, but midah rabbanon. You don't have a heter, even though it's a small gift, $25, $10, it's a bottle of wine, it's a major thing. But since you gave it back with the payment of the loan, not later, the shat, maisa, you gave it back, everyone agrees that's a problem. Midah rabbanon. There's no machlekes, that's an issue. So I want to bring out something interesting. A few weeks ago, Rabbi Azar, he brought up a very interesting case. There was someone who he lent him $5,000, a lot of money. He lent him a large amount of money. And at a certain point, he realized that the person doesn't have the money to pay.
I said,
He ignored. He didn't want to make him feel bad. Didn't want to make him feel bad. He avoided that individual, that the borrower shouldn't feel bad. He saw him on the street. Instead of him running away from him, the lender ran away from the borrower. Usually it's the opposite. He felt bad.
But also in his heart, he gave up on it, meaning
He never told him. The man never knew anything.
But
Okay, that's in his heart. In his heart, it's true. But I don't know exactly what he gave up. He was happy he gave back the money. He didn't think it's maybe coming back. What happened? You thought it's going to come back?
no, I thought
Over.
tzedakah, finish.
Okay, but that
Yeah.
man didn't know anything about it. Now, years later, right?
But 12, 15 years later.
Wow. 12 years, you met up with him in Manhattan?
No, I was in the train
In the train.
coming from Mendy's.
And you see him in the
Same
train.
feeling there. Why you recognize me? I recognize him, but we didn't say nothing about it. Are you doing good? He told me at the end of the conversation, can you come tomorrow night? You work on the others in board. I can. Give me 25,000 bucks.
He
He
gave
said,
the 20
because
million.
you looked at me and I saw that your eyes looking at me, but you ignore me because I didn't have. I told you I'm going to do I didn't have. And one time, two times, and then it disappeared. I said, come on, it doesn't have. It doesn't have.
You used to live near him, so you saw him?
It's far. I mean,
But then he
see
moved.
it.
He moved to a different area.
He moved from Texas.
Oh,
He was there for about 10, 54.
so he disappeared. You didn't see him again, and then he moved back later.
Yeah, but when I saw that he disappeared, I said, come on, what I got there with the knife?
So became a shaila based on what we learned
Yeah.
that Ribis Mucheret over here there was no made up anything before.
No.
He giving him a gift. Here's 20,000 gift because you gave me a loan.
No, not because you gave me a loan. Because you're nice not to
Not to
make eye
not to.
contact with me when you know I didn't have.
So
Nothing about rebate,
Ah.
nothing about money, nothing about that.
so last week we were thinking, 2 weeks ago we were thinking, this. I came up with a very interesting shuva of Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach that he makes a very interesting case, which is similar, not exact same like your situation, but similar. What happens if someone owed someone money? He owed him $5,000, and he didn't pay back on time. And he knew that, it was probably the lender's not happy. I gave you a loan, and he didn't pay back. So when it came back to paying up the loan, he eventually got around to paying up the loan. He paid back extra to mefayis, to pacify, appease him. He shouldn't be upset with him. He shouldn't be angry with him. He wanted to make peace. Here's some extra. So if Shemazam Auerbach says, people look at this as like Ribis. People think this is Ribis. He says, I don't think this is Ribis. And he explains a very interesting svara. He says like this. When that guy, he was supposed to give back the money after a year, and he didn't. He held it for another year, let's say. When he gave it back a year later, did the lender tell him, you're allowed to do that? He told him no. He wanted his money back. When he kept the money for himself, it was wrong when he didn't give back the loan on time. He was supposed to give back the money on time. That's not right. It's, in a way, it's ke'ein gzela. This is not your money, and he didn't pay back. When you are paying back, when he's giving extra, the borrower, it's not pshat he's giving extra because the lender gave him extra time. That's ribis. To gain extra time, to gain a loan in the first place, or to gain extra time for a loan, to pay more, give extra, that's ribis. So the Shemazalman over here, he didn't pay extra to gain extra time. The lender never gave him extra time. He said, you have to pay me back. You have to pay me back.
He delayed it.
He delayed it.
Yeah.
It's not pshat that the money here is, you were such a good guy. You gave me extra years. I want to pay you extra for that year. No. You were doing something wrong. Now you want to make the guy feel better. You're wronged him. So this doesn't think this is Ribis. And furthermore, we're going to see it right here. We're going to look inside. In another tshuva we have here, we'll see if we have a chance to look at it. He says a fascinating thing. What happens if you have a gemach? People borrow from a gemach. The gemach say you have to pay up within half a year. You don't pay up within half a year. How are they going to make sure people pay back? They have a penalty system. They give a knas. They say within a year, within another half a year, you don't pay. You went by the half a year, you didn't pay. You have to pay $100 knas. Another half a year, another $100. They have a system, a penalty system. Is this a problem or Ribis? So he says the same idea. The gemach is not telling you that you are allowed to take the money past the time. The deal in the contract says 6 months you have to pay up the loan, the halva. You're going against the rule.
Hmm?
You're going against the rule. You're not listening. You're not following. The penalty is for not following. The penalty is not because you gained more time. This is an interesting twist on a situation which people normally would assume this is a Ribis case. I want to take a look inside.
But before you continue, in my case, she made it good because that week I had 3 sheva bavot to make for people that I don't know. But I made it like a wedding. Each sheva bavot I made it fancier and fancier and fancier.
You're a bit about tzedakah.
No, I said Hashem gave it to me. It's for a reason.
That outlook is a special outlook. Most people wouldn't be running to give away money they just got. My wife, grandmother, Allah Shalom, when she was a girl a teenager, she got married in the 40s, the late 40s. When she was younger, she was teaching in like a Hebrew day school somewhere. And they couldn't pay her. There was like a period of time, 2 years went by, she didn't get paid. At one point, maybe she got paid afterwards, but there was a 2 year span of time when they owed her 2 years. I don't know if it was a continuation, it was accumulation of a few months. 2 years time she wasn't paid, right? Similar, you can relate to that. So, but she wasn't married yet, single, and she wasn't paid, and I guess she wanted to continue to work, whatever it was. She went on with life. Years later, in 1964, 64, maybe 20 years later or so, or less, and she suddenly got a check in the mail for everything she had then, when she was owed. It was a check, I think it was for $5,000. Not mistaken, which was a sizable amount of money those days. $5,000. I don't know exactly what was considered worth those times, but it was worth a lot. And she took the entire check and she sent it into the Rebbe. And no one knew this. She didn't tell anyone. Besides for her husband, no one in the world knew. And never her children, no one knew this.
But the Rebbe.
Send it as a donation.
Yes. She gave him to the Rebbe and she asked no receipt should be given. She wants no one should know about it. And she had a very large family. I don't know exactly how many children she had at that point, but eventually she had 14. So I don't know at that point, but now, the Rebbe, it was this time of the year. Came the Farbrengen of Chaf of the Rebbe's father's yard site is coming up a few days. Chaf of. And
What year?
the Rebbe's yard site was 44.
No, I'm saying
64.
Oh, it wasn't. It's still that
64.
year, around that.
Yeah. I don't know exactly when the Rebbe held on to this money. The Rebbe held on to this money, and the Rebbe announced the opening of a new fund, a new keren, and in honor of his father, from this check that he got from an American woman. He said the story over at the Farbrengen. He started a new keren, a fund called Keren Levi Yitzchak after his father's name. And from then on, every yard side of his father at the Farbrengen, he made an appeal for this this fund in
Wow.
honor of his father. Now he said,
This is called.
no one knew about the story. Listen to this. The Rebbe said this Farbrengen. He said, he says a story. I got this check out of the blue, and the person who sent it to me, he explained that both him and her husband are American born. They're not Russian, that they had this in their blood, the Mesiras Nefesh. They were American born. And they have a lot of children, they have a lot of tuition to pay, and it's hard for them to make ends meet. They're struggling. But this woman felt that if she got a check like this, which she totally unexpected, like almost 20 years later, she got this large check, it has to be for a reason. She has to give it to the tzedakah. And not only that, she wants no one should know about it. She can't mention her name, and she doesn't want a receipt. V'chulu v'chulu. Said the whole thing. Yeah, not originally, but her husband, they became Chabad. No, she knew, the Rebbe knew them. They were connected to the Rebbe.
And now the check out over.
Yeah, the whole check.
And she said, what's with it?
No, not connecting to the Ribis. Talking about tzedakah, going off the tangent. Gave an entire check that was her paycheck that she was owed. She said, I wasn't expecting this at all, so if I have it, it's obviously I have to give it to tzedakah. She had this. Yeah, they had already a kesha with the Frierdiker Rebbe.
People were good.
He didn't learn in Chabad, he learned to Torah Das, her husband, but they were both already had a connection with the Frierdiker Rebbe. So he took the Rebbe spoke about this. He opened up this fund, Karen Levi Yitzchak, which was in order to help Malandim in schools, teachers, that they get checks, but the yeshiva tells them you can't cash it in, not yet, because there's no money in the accounts.
Yeah, I have that too.
So the special Karen that they can get a gemach from here for the amount of their check. Until their check will be covered, they'll be able to. That was this gemach, and it still exists, by the way. This gemach, it still exists, and you can go online. You can go online and you can ask for a loan from this gemach. I checked it up. It's they make a collection now. Now things are online, so they have a connection
You guys
online.
have the recording of the Farbrengen?
Yeah, it's a recording.
Oh, it's in.
I want to just tell you something. Because no one knew the story was her. The family, no one knew.
Until when?
She was nifter. And during the Shiva, the Rebbe's secretary, there's only one secretary of the Rebbe that's still alive, Rabbi Krinsky, came over to one of the children, to my wife's uncle. Huh?
How long ago was this? Years ago.
6 years ago, I would say.
Oh, wow.
I have a daughter named after her, so I would say she's 5. I would say like 6 years ago. During the Shiva, and he told him, there's a story for the Rebbe. Said that was your mother.
Wow.
He said, how do you know? Well, someone had to take the check and cash the check. So I was the one, as the Rebbe's secretary, taking the check and then cash the check. But he was sworn to secrecy. You work in the Rebbe's secretary. There are a lot of private, personal things coming through. You can't say a word. The Rebbe, he's listening to Farbrengen. The Rebbe's talking the whole story. He knows who it is, but he can't say where he was the only other person who knew about this, what happened. He never breathed a word, never told a soul. He just met in shul her son and told her, that story happened with your mother. It was very interesting story, yeah. I'm saying you got this money unexpectedly, he gave it all, he understood it's not for him. You listen to these stories, I say, if I had money like this, I'd go pay the bills. I wouldn't be giving it away.
And I had.
If
you had bills, huh?
Wife's grandmother.
Wife's grandmother, Yarbush, her name was.
What age passed away?
She was in the early 90s. Yeah, she was very good till close to the end.
Wow.
What
an amazing story.
Shouldn't say Kananahara, but she's already an Elamis.
Yeah. I had shared third grade
what did you say?
She used to Barkley, third grade teacher, Mrs. Gallagher. Third grade. Papa, I had determined the job
I have to find out if that was hers or a relative.
when Papa.
But I'll ask. I'll ask.
What's it?
That was on the block of Chayvei Torah, right? On the same block as the large shul congregation.
No, it was on Papa. Choice connected.
The next block. The next block, right. Haha. The building still exists?
Church.
I think there was another individual who learned there. Who used to come into the shul. Stein? Ruben Stein? I think he said that he was there years ago also.
Yeah.
Who?
Someone, and he was the principal. His name was Rabbi Melech Silver. Was it? How's it in my mother somehow?
Oh, yeah.
They named with probably their probably
Your family somehow related to a lot of them. Your father used to say something related to all the bigger
Rabbi
yeshivas.
Yerucham Olshin, cousin somehow there. My mother, Rabbi Yerucham Olshin from Lakewood. Yeah, so he's also related somehow to Melech Silver.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway, it wasn't a Ribis story. He was mentioning what happened with hidden case that he took the money instead of paying his bill. He paid up the Shabbat. I was just saying I had a story which I think it's a very special.
Very good.
And as Lamaisa getting over here, take a look at what Shem Zalman says. Gam Cheshvani. I feel She'im. No, no. Depends which case. No, I'm sorry. Depends which case. L'chatchila you can't. Once the ribis was taken, it's an aveira. But once it was done, you could be moichel it. After the fact, the question is, no, you can't be moichel before the fact because that's what the Torah is answering. This Torah is telling you that you can't be moichel. You're not allowed to do ribis. Every ribis case is a mechila case. I'm moichel. I'm giving you extra. I want to give you extra. I want the loan. Torah says you're not allowed. All the goyim do it all the time. There's nothing wrong with doing it. Not only that, they don't think it's anything morally. Morally, there's nothing wrong with taking ribis. It's a Torah idea. It's strictly like sort of like a gzeres hakosov in a way, not to take ribis. It's something which doesn't make sense. Everywhere in the world, everything runs around interest. It's a unique das Torah. Let's take a look. If the loiv of the borrower acted improperly, he delayed payment back, and he's going to come and pay back at a later time. For sure, the loiva is obligated to make the malva feel good. The malva has tinus on him. You paid me late. The Shemzam was very about midas toivus. The loiva definitely, he says, has an obligation to make the malva feel appease the malva because he didn't pay on time. L'chein, ashin the malva yochel toivim mamimidin. Even the malva has not legally no right to go and demand money for this delay in the payment. If the loiv on his own decides, I see that the malva is upset with me, and I want to give him a gift, I want to give him some extra money to pay back, to make him, he shouldn't be upset with me, he should be able to do it. Sharei, they also told Ribis, Elo b'halva. The Torah said, a malva is giving you a loan his own free will, and you want to give him extra back. For that, the Torah says you're not allowed to give extra. It's Ribis. The Torah never said that if the loiva is delaying payment against the goodwill of the malva, the malva says, I want my money back. You're delaying the payment, you're holding it back. Why can you give him money to appease him. The money is not for the loan. The loan was a loan. The money is because you delayed the loan. You didn't delay if you gained more time from the Malva. The Malva said, "Oh, pay me extra. Give me extra back. I'll let you extend the loan. You want another year? Don't just give me back 1,000. Give me back 1,250, and I'll let you have." That's Ribis.
What about
Because that money gained you extra time. Over here, the money is not for the extra time the Malva gave him. The Malva never gave him extra time.
What if
The Malva said pay back, and he's upset that you're not paying him back.
what if after the fact? Okay, what if the Malva didn't allow you to pay late, but you paid? You said I installed, and then you come back to pay. Can the Malva say I'd appreciate some more now? You understand the reverse of what the labor offering? Can the Malva request?
Maybe he could, but maybe he could. We'll see actually in a
Right.
second. Yeah, good point. First of all, Shemazalman never said he can't. He just said the Malva can't demand it in Hadin.
Right.
He has no legal apparatus to say he's obligated to pay him back more. It's not written.
Make a request.
He could making a question be a problem, and we'll see soon the next shuvah by a gemach. What Shemazalman says, what you could do by a gemach to get people to pay on time.
I'm waiting for my browser, but you have to pay on the first. And the man came to send me first, over the take it. But rather, it is that.
Of course, he can ask for the rent.
So what if
No, we're talking as traditional. That's what I meant. Asking to ask for. Can you say if you were not? I did not allow you to pay late. I would want you to pay late. Now that you already paid late, it would be nice if you give me an extra 100.
yeah, so the credit card comes to pretty late, it's $40 fee, they don't pay interest. It's $40.
Right.
Once then they charge interest, it's like $200.
There's a penalty.
Oh, the penalty.
Right,
If
$40 penalty, and then they charge interest on that too.
Right. So we'll discuss that soon. Yeah.
So if it's a little better spending, say it's a penalty, that's,
Depends how it's done. 1 second. I want to get to Shalom's question. Look at let's just jump to the ending of this section over here. The last 3 lines where it starts with Sheyesh Kfira Bizman V'Hachinami Vav Heinu. V'Hachinami Gam Kan Efshesh Yochel HaMalva. It's possible the Malva loiva they can tell him to the loiva. Not only the loiva can pay extra. The Malva can actually tell him Sheyesh Loi Taroimus. I am upset al Icher Apiroin because you delay payment. Below spice, I'm not going to be appeased.
Wow.
With Sarich Iyun. This he said, I'm not so sure.
Let's
If he
start.
says I'm not appeased, though, does the
What if
labor
you give
owe
me-
him money?
No, it's not owe him.
Right.
It's a question about, sometimes you find in Gemara, Mishnah, you say, a person's not chayiv, but the person has kindness on you. You did something wrong. It's not morally correct.
Right.
You sent someone to make a deal for you, instead of making a deal for you, he made it for himself. What can you do? He made the deal for himself. He used his own money. He did the deal. You have what's called taroimus. We find this in Chazal, this lush taroimus. Taroimus means you have complaints and tightness on him. And however, there's nothing legally that can be done.
He lost
You know,
a
we
friend.
call what's called the Ramban terms novel breshus hatoira.
What?
Sometimes a person can act like a novel. He can act like a bad person within the reshus of the Torah. And the parameters of the Torah, you can figure out ways how he can act like a novel. So, I'm a novel, like a novel. So, sometimes it's taroimus, but there's nothing you could do. In a court case, sometimes one side won, but everyone sees that guy is a bad person, whatever it is. There's nothing you can do. Yeah. What do lawyers do a whole day?
And when you play the system, that's no move.
The lawyers are playing the system every day. There's no value to the system. I heard of the name of a top lawyer. He's a from Yid. He likes to learn, and he gives it afyoy mishir. So someone told him, it was probably, the fact that you learn no law. It helps you when you learn Torah. You learn. He says it's such opposite approaches. He tells me I have to put on a different hat. When I'm trying to help my client out and get him away with whatever he needs to get out of, I twist the law whatever I could. Even though I know that that's not what the founding fathers meant in the Constitution, or not the intent of whoever wrote the law. Whatever I can get away with, you try to get away with. So you try to put it in. He says, later on, when I'm coming to my Daf Yomi Shir, I'm coming to learning, it's a whole different. I have a derech eretz for.
Different life.
I want to know what the Torah meant to say. I want to really know. It's not here to get away with everything. We want to know what's shot. So he said it's difficult for him in two different, you know. Anyways, so I want to point out, I have here another tshuva of Shem Zalman, where he talks about gemachs which are giving out penalties to people who pay late. How do these penalties work? Is these penalties may also maybe be an issue of ribis, and he says a similar idea to what he said over here, that a penalty for paying late is not the same idea as ribis. You were discussing penalties. Many gemachs, they set up a system, asher knas hu lefi erech hazman. For example, Mishalem shekel echad. I'm sure it's more. He's just giving an example. 1 shekel for half a year. 1 shekel is nothing. Shana, Mishalem shnei shekalim. V'tanu Rabbim, many tie it that what these gemachim are doing, shetini kanibis, v'loike knas, that's a problem. It's ribis. You're giving out a loan, and you're expecting more back. That's ribis. However, says the Reb Shlomo Zalman, Yishloimar dekiven she'ache shegimiyas man apiroin yochol likme hagemach limuschavi. Since api halacha, legally, the halacha, the gemach has the rights to come and collect their debt, whatever matters they have at their whatever contract you signed.
Because the Gemach didn't allow you, say, lechatchila, if you go, you're allowed to go longer, but pay a little extra. They really only gave you until
No,
this and this time.
technically the shtar says that if you don't pay in this time, they can go after you, take something, whatever it says in the shtar, they can go to court and do something about this. After the time, since you have no legal right to hold on to this money, it's a gzela by you. When you're paying back more as a knas, it's not paying back that the gemach now gave you extended time. Kim shir goydel ha'avla. The knas will fee the avla. Half a year avla, this amount, another half a year. Because he did an avla, something wrong, there's a knas, a penalty. It's not pshat because the amount of time. Maybe the amount of time you took, we can take more from you, maybe. It's not about interest percentage. Val avla shel chatzi shana misham rak shekel echad. Shoshana shleim misham shnei shkolim. Rak im hoyse takonish im atnai hu shemiten akan shekel shuv in a gemach yochel l'toivim menu. Atzayiv chatzi shana shapir choshev agar noter. If the penalty is written down in a way that after you pay that penalty up, you gain yourself another half a year, you were supposed to give it up after 6 months. If you don't pay after the 6 months, you have an automatic penalty. If the condition was that after you paid up that penalty, you automatically now have the rights to keep the choyer for another 6 months, that's 100% ribis. That's agar noter, which the Gemara says, agar means schar in Aramaic, noter means waiting. Schar for waiting for you got paid for the schar for waiting for your money to come back. The gemach got extra money. But if the shtar is written up that you have to pay back on time, and even if you went and you now past time and you paid a penalty, it doesn't mean you're allowed to hold it now for half a year. They can still demand it back right away. They can go to court. That's up to them if they want to go and chase you or not. If that's the way it's written, you didn't gain more time with your giving the knas.
That's not right.
V'ayim is a hated in Simin Kufayin Zayin Yeridei Sif Yudalad and Mefarshim over there. V'doik hate to be medayik very well in this idea. Afal Pisha l'chol havoyis ribis, even though by every loan of ribis, afim hissa malbash yuchalig b'chol shosh yirtza. ואז יעשו חשבון לשם כלשהו שבעד יחש ריבס. If the Malva said that I can collect whenever I want, there's no time to it, and then you're going to have to pay every month, week more that goes on, that's definitely nippus. But here in this case, there's no heter to keep the money. We can't term this a penalty and not interest. So the Gabi, your question about the credit card companies. So what the credit card companies do for, I don't know how the shtar is written, but there's two things there. There's the penalty and there's the interest incurred. Are they allowed to go after you if you don't pay, or once you pay the interest, you're allowed to keep it?
So they have,
What's the system? Can they
usually
technically?
the system is that if you make minimum payments, it used to be with American Express that you had to pay the whole thing. Now Amex is like, it used to be Amex was like a charge card and not a credit, where you had to pay the whole thing every month. Now I think American Express changed, a decade or two or three ago, that so long as you make a minimum monthly payments, you can continue. You don't get charged the penalty, but you still get charged interest.
You don't get the penalty, but you get the interest.
Right. But if you don't even make a minimum payment, the minimum amount due or the full amount due, if you don't even pay the minimum amount due, then you do get a penalty.
And they pay extra while they even for.
What? No.
My question is, are we going to have a million parrots?
I'm related.
How many?
We are not 7. Is anyone upstairs? So I don't know, like what happens when a person pays that minimum payment? I think that they tell you you're allowed to have it for more if you pay the interest.
Right, exactly.
So pshat is it's real ribis.
Right.
Because they cannot go after you. They can't go after you within that time.
Right. They're loaning to you with an APR, an annual percentage rate.
Yeah, it's a built-in interest system.
But what they do, they lower the amount that you can buy for. But then you said $12, they lowered the 300.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Long time, after a number of months of, at a certain point, they'll do that.
So no, they lowered the amount of penalty.
But I think the credit card company would be a problem. Like in Eretz Yisrael, I don't know how the credit card companies run. Are all the credit cards just running off the worldwide credit card system? And then it's goyim, and it's not a problem. But if it's like a local Jewish companies running credit card companies, it's a problem. All the banks in Eretz Yisrael have to make a heter iska. So from people to use the bank, they're going to have to make a heter iska. I'm sure they all do, and I'm sure if there is one that doesn't, everyone there knows which doesn't, and then from people don't use that bank. And the credit card would definitely be an issue. But in the case of a gemach, the gemach is not here to earn money. They're not in the business. It's not a business, a gemach. A gemach is a tzedakah. They're not in the form of giving out money in order to gain money, interest. The whole system is built differently. So over here, Rav Shlomo Zalman is saying, giving a penalty for someone, which makes him pay back, it's a penalty to get the guy to pay back. That's different. That's not interest. Again, but he's making it clear. If the penalty, you pay up the penalty, and now I gained extra time, I paid the penalty, the half-year penalty, now I gained another half a year, where they have no rights to ask me, to demand from me the money. That's taka, that means I gained money. That's interest. I paid. But if they say, no, you have to pay the penalty, and you have to pay up still. You owe us money, you have to pay up. And if they theoretically want to go after you, they could do it. And according to Shlomo Zalman, it's very similar to what we see over here. In this case, where this person came and threw out you action, he is trying to make you feel better about what happened. He assumed in his mind, it's nothing to do with the fact that he gave the loan. He didn't give me the money for the loan. If he would have paid back the money right after the time came, he would pay it back. He wouldn't give you the extra money. He gave you the money because he delayed the payment. He didn't speak to you about it. You didn't tell him, yeah, you'll pay me extra, you'll get more time. And even if he's saying now, I'm giving you because I delayed the payment, I paid later, shkoyach. But from his perspective, he wasn't allowed to do that. He didn't know what's in your mind. He was not allowed, it was not legal for him not to pay back. So when he didn't pay back, it was very similar to this case over here, the first tshuva, that he's trying to mafias the malva, that I understand that you went through a period of time over here, that you were, and I wanted to make everything good, and then give me the extra money. So the chayla, this does not fall into the category even of a ribis midrabanan, like we're discussing, a ribis mugdamus mucheres. So you got to use your head. The Shemazam really gives a twist to the whole situation, a new look. Now, what does it mean ribis? Not everything what we think is ribis is actually ribis. We got to think about it and determine what it is.
In my case, he told me why he gave me extra. He said, because you saw me hundreds of times and you move your eyes because you know I don't have. Not like you want to give me more time. He knew that I know that he.
But if he would have given it to you, when let's
Yeah.
say you made up 30 days, right? And he would have given it to you 30 days and tell you, I'm giving you extra because you were so nice to me. You didn't make me feel bad about borrowing money. You're not allowed to do that. That you're not allowed to do. But now that he took it on his own, he did not do something legally. He was supposed to pay you back. You never wrote him a letter and told him that you could keep the money. That's a.
But with the Gemach,
He wants to mafias you. Pius v'damim al ishur apira. And I see this as going under this klal of pius. And the second shuv is saying you're allowed to make it up even l'chatchila. The bigger chiddush. L'chatchila you can make a knas system set up. If the knas system is written properly, the penalty system. I don't know how it works with the different gemachs that are here, and all different communities have gemachs. I don't know what they have set up. The penalty system.
most
You know, there's a gemach you can have online. It's an old gemach, like 100 years old, maybe more, called the Hebrew Free Loan Society, which today I think I don't even know if it's fully Jewish. They give the non-Jewish people loans, and it was originally by Yidden who put money into this gemach, hundreds, something maybe more than 100 years ago, and it still exists. And this Hebrew loan, you can look it up online. They have a sophisticated website, which how much money you could take out for various things. Not major, but you can get loans of between $5, $10, $15,000 in different things. I wonder what happens. You don't pay back. What's the system? You know. I'm assuming that they do a heter iska. I'm assuming that since they're working,
guarantors.
they require a guarantor. But what happens? Like, do they go after the guarantor right away? Do they go? What about the penalty? Is there a penalty system? So this is very interesting.
Does
Twist of Shem
if you don't give
This is any shalos and shuvas mincha shloima.
the Alter Rebbe or anyone else talk about this?
No, he would have mentioned it. This is like his own
No one else about
specifically about these cases. No,
But
we
if you
speak
don't-
about very similar things, about sending gifts, which seems that it should be similar. You're giving extra back, but he's clarifying that's a different case. That's when you pay back on time
So the
and you
gift-
gave back extra
that's not
for the law. That's ribis midrabanan, because you didn't make up
back late and on your own.
Pay back late. You
wanted
decide
to give up
because
to be Matthias, then
Fayis, then that's a different story.
the Gemach, if you don't give back on time, other people listen to the Gemach. Like your neighbor.
Sure, that's what he's
It's
saying.
not only
He's saying there's no right to do the Gemach does not want it. They're not in the business of credit card business or cash advance. A lot of the young guys doing cash advance. This is clearly built up on an interest-based system where they want you to not pay on time. The credit card companies have a certain interest that you don't pay on time.
Cash Advance has a lot of couldn't say I don't know. It's a very gray area. A lot of some of them don't load the Jews or people sounding Jewish or they had their iskas and there should be in all cases. There probably isn't, but they're like it's a business loan. It's not a personal loan, but then sometimes it's personally guaranteed, so it's probably. Are you familiar? Have you been asked about it?
How does it work? I mean, it's interest-based.
Right.
So it's
Very high interest, higher than the
Higher than
typical
credit card?
usury laws. Yeah, Because it's not like 30% annual. It's like it's like we're going to give you
Very high risk.
we're going to give you let's say $10,000, and you have to pay us back 15,000 in
When?
3 months. Which is that's like 50% in 3 months comes out to about 200%
So a
annual.
lot of people go bankrupt with this cash advance.
Right, or maybe, or like, you
Some
know,
people make a lot of money.
It's 30 to 50% on the money, but they're like, well, you know, we're taking high risk because we're giving high risk loans, and if you pay it back, if we take a year to pay it back, and we might not be able to collect it, so then.
And banks won't give such amounts. Like, why don't people go to banks?
Well, banks can't go with such high rate, but they also, these people maybe don't qualify because of their credit worthiness to get that amount from a bank. Otherwise, it'd be much more better terms from a bank.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, Abaisai. Thank you for joining. Good to see you, Pinchas, Stephen, David, Yochanan. Can't believe, David, you're still joining us from Florida.
Yep.
Good to see everyone.
So hopefully most have.
Yes,
or they-
yes.
네.
Baruch Hashem.
나 이상, 나, 잠깐만요.
I was in
그래서
Woodmere last week.